Welcome to Influence Matters, the show for purpose driven leaders who are ready to turn their expertise into influence and their story into impact. I'm your host, Clara Rose. I'm a literary consultant, publishing strategist, and the creator of the Spoken Book Method. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Let me tell you about her. So, Michelle is a biblical leadership coach and kingdom speaker. She helps Christian women in business flourish spiritually and professionally. In Michelle's free Facebook group, 70,000 women strong, of which I'm a part and love, and her mastermind with No More Dry Ground. She leads Kingdom women entrepreneurs who are rising together in faith, strategy, and sisterhood to build businesses in his overflow. Please help me welcome Michelle Tufford. Are you there with me, my friend? Here you
Hello.
are.
I'm here.
Welcome. Thank you for uh, taking time out of your crazy busy life to be with my audience today and share what it is that you do in this world. So please, my friend, tell us what you do.
Aw, thanks for having me, Clara. Just a joy to be here with you. So I, just like you said, run a Facebook group community, Christian Women in Business Networking, and I run a mastermind where we go deep and really talk about growing our business from the overflow of our relationship with God. And I just have such a heart and passion for really coming alongside kingdom entrepreneurs and really focusing in on what matters most, which is following the Lord and His direction, His voice, so that we can make an impact in the kingdom with the calling that He's placed on our lives. So that's my
I
passion.
love that. I love that. Of course, I'm a part of the mastermind and I'm a part of your free Facebook community. But I actually ended up there because somebody invited me. Someone said, "Oh my gosh, you have to check out this amazing community." So the Facebook group, 70,000 Christian women. That's like, wow. All right. That's a lot. How long have you been building this community?
Yes, we started this Facebook. I started it, I want to say it was about 4 years ago, maybe 3 to 4 years ago that I started the community. So it's grown a lot very quickly.
Th- Wow, very quickly. And you know why it is? I believe it's because you're connecting women, like minded women who want to show up for God, right? Want to
Mm,
show up. We are not just business women,
mm,
right? We are, there's a lot of terms for it now, kingdompreneur or whatever you want to call it, but we want our work to align with our faith, right? And there's
yes.
not a lot of that out there, right?
Mm,
And it's very different in the
mhm,
the non-faith based world. Tons of
yeah,
networking to be had for sure, but the
yeah.
atmosphere is different,
You're
right?
so right. Yeah. It and your circle matters. I think that was even why I started
Mhm,
the community in the first place. The Lord directed me. Surround yourself with kingdom entrepreneurs because we
mhm,
have been given these callings this into the marketplace in business and
mhm,
to be in a community of others who are operating
mhm,
from building with the Lord. It's beautiful. So,
mhm, mhm. I love that. I love that that part is free, right? Because it
mm,
lets you get in. So even if you're not an entrepreneur, like I'm an entrepreneur, die hard, right? 43 years in business, right? I've been an entrepreneur forever. I'll be an entrepreneur my whole life, no doubt. But uh, there's so many women who are in the earlier stages of, God is calling me into something, right?
yeah,
And it's a scary leap to jump into business for the first time anyway, right? And then on
yes.
top of that, to jump into a world that the entrepreneurial world is can be scary. It can be
Yeah.
brutal, actually.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? Not, it can be not safe.
That's true, and when
So,
you're and I experienced doing business not partnered with the Lord, and I've seen the contrast
mhm,
of that, so I have such a
mhm,
heart even for those who are coming into their faith, they've maybe been on their entrepreneurial journey for a long time, but they're coming in and
mhm,
recognizing their need for the Lord, um, So creating a space for that too, where it's like, hey, come on in, let's do this together. You're not alone, because it can feel really lonely out there.
Mhm. Yes, especially if you're a solopreneur, which is a newer
Mhm.
term that, people are using, but it really just means you're an entrepreneur in your own little silo, right? Which so many of us are, right? If you're a small business, a really small business, and it's just you and maybe a, a virtual assistant or even a couple support staff, it can be a very lonely feeling to feel like you're just navigating those waters all by yourself, like,
Yes,
just from a
yes, and
business standpoint.
especially now with everything coming out with AI and robots
Oh my
doing things,
goodness.
right? We need human interaction. We
Mhm,
need we need people who are walking with the Holy Spirit, right?
mhm,
And
for
in a
sure.
space where we can have those human to human connections, which is a lot of, why I created the networking events, which is also free. We do those every week, and it's a place where we can have those
Mhm,
one-on-one conversations with a
mhm.
person, right?
Yes, that's where I started. Someone said, "Ooh, come to this free networking." I'm like, "Okay," because I'm a networking crazy woman, and it was
Yeah.
but it was a faith based. I'm like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, sign me up for that." So, how did all this start? Right? There's a story. I know there's a story here.
Praise
What started all
story.
this?
Yes.
There's a
So I,
story.
like you, I have, been entrepreneur by for a long time. From the time I was just a little kid, I was planning babysitters, reading the Babysitters Club, starting, businesses, and I've run local businesses. I had a meal prep business. I was a fitness and nutrition coach for a number of years. But then the online space kind of came into play. Wanted to build a business that was more flexible and free for my to be home with my kids, to be able to make some extra income, but be home with my kids. And so I went on this journey and learned how to market myself online, got into affiliate marketing and things, and grew some pretty substantial businesses. And was able to even retire, I air quotes, because it was, my husband quit his job as a police officer because of the money that we were making from the businesses that I was running online. But it was in that space, it was kind of at the height of that, where I was, talking about how I was making all of this money online, and I was broadcasting it. I was using it even as a marketing tool. But I was on the inside just dying on the inside. I felt so unfulfilled, so empty, because I was doing it all in my own strength and had really made an idol out of it. It was all about the pursuit of more money, more success. And I thought that that was going to be the thing that was going to make me happy, but it didn't. And I was actually suffering from a lot of stress and anxiety. I ended up actually putting myself in the hospital because I was dehydrated. I wasn't taking care of myself. It was just one of those situations. But the Lord met me in that space. He allowed me to kind of come to the end of myself with that and realize, like, what am I doing? And He wooed me from there. It was like, you talk about, the Lord leading you to a wilderness space. But He met me in the wilderness and drew me to Himself, and I went on this journey of falling in love with the Lord and realizing I didn't want to do anything if He wasn't in it. So He actually asked me to lay down the businesses that I had built, asked me to start over, which is a scary thing because my husband was now, not working, and now he's going to need to go back to work because the Lord's asking me to lay some things down and start over. It was actually in that season of laying things down and starting over that the Lord directed me to start this Facebook group, Christian Women in Business Networking, and to run these networking events, because He told me to surround myself with other kingdom women entrepreneurs who are partnered with Him in business, because He wanted me to learn how to build a business with Him, and to be around others who were doing that. And so here we are now. That was about 4 years ago, and started over. And the Facebook group just took off. It With the networking events, it really started to pick up some traction, and are we started getting, on average, about 100 new members to our Facebook group every single day, all organic, no paid ads. And now, we're at 72,000, I think, today, but still averaging over 100 new members every single day joining that group. And what was birthed out of that was no more dry ground. which even the name No More Dry Ground came from that season of the Lord meeting me in the wilderness and teaching me that it wasn't about my circumstances changing. Because I used to read that Bible verse, like, He makes a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert. I used to think that it was about my circumstances changing, and that was, the streams in the desert and the way in the wilderness. And yes, He can change your circumstances, but what He taught me is that He is the way in the wilderness. He is the streams in the desert. And that no matter what my circumstances looked like, that if I had Him, that was the overflow. That was the space of joy and peace and everything that we long for, that we think the world's going to offer, but really it's Him. So when we find Him, then the overflow is what we get to do, which is building our businesses and impacting the world and influence and all of those things. But it first has to come from the overflow. It has to come from our relationship with Him. Otherwise, it will feel empty and will feel dry, no matter how much money you make, no matter how much success you have. Without Him, it's dry. So no
Mm,
more dry ground in
so
that season.
true. So good. That was my next question. So where the name came from, but you already took care of that.
Mhm.
I absolutely um, know that journey. Not that I mean, I've been a believer my whole life, right? I can remember being, I think I was probably 7, sitting in the pew, trying to pay attention to the pastor, right? Looking at my shoes, your legs stick out because they're too short to, go over the edge. So playing with my shoes, um, it was just fussing with stuff, right? Trying to pay attention, like, no, pay attention, right? So just lifelong known the Lord forever, and very grounded in my faith, but didn't necessarily always wrap it into the work that I did. Not that that's a bad thing, because not, you don't have to wrap God into what you're doing for the world to see. But it's so true. Success comes and goes, right? Things come and go. Shifts happen in the marketplace that we have no control over, right? This new AI thing, huge shift in the industry that I'm in, right? We have no control over what that's doing, right? In a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, we have no idea what it's going to look like. It's a little scary if you ask me. I'm, um, the era of the Terminator, right? Because I'm old, right? But seeing the Terminator, now I'm seeing these robots on TV walking around with AI in their wherever AI lives, and them thinking, did nobody see Terminator? Come on, people, right?
A bad idea.
Yeah, this is a terrible idea. Whose idea was this, right? Uh, Things changed, right? You don't know, but the one constant that we do know is our Father, right? Our Father
Mhm.
in heaven, that consistent, um,
Mhm.
connection with the Holy Spirit. He
Mhm.
is ultimately in control, right? He does know the future. He is in control and we're not. So
Mhm.
reaching a point in life where you can just say, Lord, whatever you want for me, right? If you don't want it for me, take it away fast. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not a patient person. So, rip it right out of right away from me. I don't want it anywhere near me. It's
Yeah.
that phase of life when you learn what's really important, right? The other stuff, money's
Mm.
great, right? But the other
Yeah.
stuff is the important stuff. And I've
Yeah.
been in the seasons of plenty, but still felt the dry ground, right?
Yeah.
So the space that you've created is so precious, so
Mhm.
important. And I
Mhm.
personally, I don't even think it's guys, right? But I love that it's for women because it feels safer or something, right?
Mm.
So you have like annual retreats. I want you to tell me about the retreats, but okay, I'm gonna stop yakking because I could get carried away because I love what you do and I'm excited about it. Tell us about the retreats.
Yes. So retreats. I think there is something unique about women. We love the like getting together and sharing our hearts, right? Like that we're just wired that way. And there's something so special about the retreat to being able to be in person because we a lot of what we do, of course, with The mastermind is virtual, and a lot of us are running our businesses on social media and connecting with women all over the world, which is amazing. Even my best friend, Taryn Raquel, she partners with me here at No More Dry Ground. She lives all the way over in Australia. And so we actually built our relationship initially through Zoom calls online, virtually. But there's something so special about coming and being in person. And so our retreats are small and intimate. On average, we have about 20 women, and we like to say it's a time for us to intentionally create space to be with the Lord, just kind of away from our typical routine, the busyness of the world, away from the chores and wearing all of the hats, and just being with the Lord and seeking His heart and His direction for our lives and for our businesses, and allowing Him to just pour into us. Even Jesus, he modeled getting away to be with the Father. Like he intentionally got away and spent time alone. But even in those spaces, even though you're not alone at the retreat, there is space for the women to just be with the Lord. But then the sisterhood, that we connect on a deep level and we have a chance to pour into each other. Because oftentimes, as leaders and business owners, we're pouring out, constantly pouring out. But to have a space that we can go and to be poured into, to receive, to be refreshed, to kind of take a deep breath and realize, hey, like I'm with my sisters who get it, right? We can talk about the things that we're navigating and the struggles that we face, but then to be able life and encouragement into each other is absolutely powerful. So really the central theme of all of our retreats is to help women have time to really seek God's voice, even to recognize God's voice, some of them even for the very first time. There are women who come who grew up even in church, myself included. This was my story. Grew up in church, knew of God, but I didn't understand the depth of the personal relationship that I could have with God, and realizing that I could have, that he speaks and that he's wanting to direct me personally in my life and in my business, and that he can't even give me business direction. And so much of that is cultivated at our retreats. We talk about that in our sessions, and we create space for journaling and prayer and listening. Because again, we live in such a busy world of so much information coming at us from all directions, but to kind of block out that noise and to just sit and be and ask the Lord questions and actually have the space to listen is powerful and transformative for these women.
Oh, I love it. And you have one coming up. When is the next retreat?
So
And
our
is it
next
full
retreat.
already?
Yeah, so our next one is fall. It's in Kentucky.
Ah,
We're going to be experiencing the Ark encounter together. So the theme is really centered around build, is God
mm,
asking for Ark, right? Kind of that, it's
I love
bigger
that.
than you ever imagine. And you need heaven's blueprint, right? Even Noah had no idea
Right,
what the Ark was. We need heaven's
right.
blueprint. Then the next one we still have a few spots for is actually in Australia. We're going to be going to the Gold Coast in Australia the first week of November, November 2nd through the 6th. We have a few spots left for that one. And dates for 2027 are coming soon. So yeah, we love to host retreats.
Florida, just
Yes, I,
come to
you know,
Florida.
there that may be coming in 2027.
Uh, we want you to come to Florida.
Yes.
That's so exciting. I do love that you guys kind of mix it up, right? And it's in different places, and there's different, opportunities at different times for people to get together in person, because there's something different that happens in person that doesn't, it's not the same connection, right? And maybe it's mostly a woman thing. I don't know this to be
Mhm.
factual, but in the groups that I've been a part of, when you're virtual, you can still have really great friendships. Like you and your best friend, right? We became
Mhm.
best friends through Zoom, which is
Yep.
crazy, right? 10 years
Mhm.
ago, unheard of. But once you got together, that's when things gel. And that experience is so different for women when you can like hug a neck, right? When you can pray together in person and cry together in person and worship
Yes.
together in person. It's another level, right?
Mm.
It changes things. Not to
Mhm.
discount the wonderful things that are going on, virtually. For instance, I do want you to share before we run out of time, because that can happen to me because yeah, too much. Talk about the free, open to anyone networking. When does that happen? How do people get involved in that as a first step?
Yeah. Yes. So, the first thing you would want to do is go to nomoredryground.com. On there, you'll see there's at the link at the top, you'll see networking events. If you go there, you'll see our calendar. We host networking events every week on Tuesdays. The first and third Tuesday of every single month is at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then the second and fourth Tuesday of every month is at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We host women all over the world in our networking event and in our mastermind. So we have time from all different time zones, right? So that's why we have a morning and an evening, and we shift because, like my best friend in Australia right now, it is in the middle of the night for her and morning for
Right.
us. So we like to have less
Right. She's sleeping.
is sleeping. Yeah. So same thing with our
Sleeping.
mastermind. Go
Yeah.
deep into really, building our businesses together. That is also, we have a number of different call times throughout the week to fit for different
With
time
that.
zones.
I love that. So, but that's like every week there's a free networking for women, right? Where you
Yes.
literally show up, and I've been a part of a few of them, literally show up, and then you get put into breakout rooms where you
Yeah.
actually get to have conversation. It's not just a bunch of people in a main room being talked at, right? Or taking turns sharing. It's literally like being in the room with somebody. You're just virtual. So you can talk about who you are, what you do, what you're looking for, what kinds of connections you need, right? So there's uh, like 3 or 4 breakouts per,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yep. Every 6 minutes, we rotate for you to talk to someone new
In the
throughout the
room.
hour. So depending on how quick we can transition, we usually
Yeah,
like to try and get.
right, right. And then from there, that was my journey, right? I started there and then found out about the Facebook group, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all these amazing women in here. And then, of course, you do talk about the mastermind as well. So women who are in business, who are ready for that next level of engagement, which not everybody is, right? At that point. But if you are, then you get an opportunity to check out what that looks like. So tell people about that process. How do they
Yes.
just check you
Yes.
out?
Yeah, the best way is actually through our 14-day trial. It's only $7. You can come and see for yourself. We have a number of different calls we run in our mastermind. One of them is actually really centered around, like what we talked about, the retreat. We call it Create Space, where actually we guide you through having that time with the Lord, your business meeting with the Lord, talking through your week. We have those mastermind calls where we get on and we strategize together, share the things that you're working on, what you need feedback on. Our calls, we also keep them small and intimate. So even though the Facebook group is 72,000, our mastermind calls on average, we typically have around 6 to 9 women on those calls. So you definitely are on those calls and getting the chance to really talk and ask questions and get feedback, which we love. And the way we are able to keep them small like that is, as we grow, we just add more mastermind call times to the calendar and we just spread out. And so it ends up staying very intimate, which we love. And we also have a call where we call it encourage and edify. So we need to have a space where people are pouring into us and praying over us and seeking God's heart for us. And it's just powerful. The women who come into that community and that mastermind, they connect, they build deep relationships, they hire each other. I love seeing that. You get visibility. You have the option to even promote your offers to that big Facebook group. So if you have a business that serves Christian women in business specifically, that could be a really powerful addition to the mastermind for you with the visibility. You can promote your events in our community. So some amazing opportunity for you to get plugged in, go deeper, and get additional visibility for your business. So that's our mastermind.
Winner, winner, right? So, but even if all you did was plug into the free Facebook group and the free networking every single week, free networking, that exposure right there, that alone, right? And then you could
Mhm.
just check it out and see if these are your people, right? I discovered last year for the first time, it was a different group of, it's a very high level mastermind that I participated in, but it was Christian women, right? And I had never been a part of a Christian women only networking. And I felt like instantly I found my people, right? I found my people, not because, I don't network well with the boys or, whatever, but there was just that sisterhood that you can't explain, right? If you haven't experienced it, you can't explain the difference between the networking in the sisterhood and the networking, even in women only groups outside of the faith
Mm,
based journey, right? There's just something unique and different about that. So, absolutely, if you're looking for sisterhood, you're looking for a place to plug in, you're looking for people who are will pray with you and share get excited when you succeed and cry with you when things, fall, because that happens, right? So I love what you're doing. Okay, we're just about out of time. So any last minute
mm,
invitation, somewhere you'd like to send, last words of wisdom before I let you
mm.
go?
Yeah, I just want to speak to the woman who's in that space where you are feeling maybe a little isolated, um, and looking for your people, looking for community. Because again, it can feel very lonely. And there's something really, like you said, Clara, special about women and sisterhood coming together. And maybe you've even had experiences in the past that weren't so positive. Sometimes that can be our story. Because, yeah, there in groups, women can be, catty or whatever. But what we have found when God is at the center and his heart, when we're seeking his heart, that is that women come alive into the purpose that God has designed us for, which is truly encouraging and loving and supportive. And I haven't seen a community like this anywhere else. I know that I may seem a little biased because I'm the founder of No More Dry Ground, but really from the outside looking in, I am in awe of what God is doing in his daughters and the way that he is bringing us together and truly linking arms in a collaborative sense, really truly operating from a place of no competition in the kingdom, where we really want to see each other succeed, because when you succeed, that means the kingdom is advancing, right? So if we can come
Mm,
alongside and say, hey, I see the gift and calling on your life. We want to come and support you and help you grow that, because we're growing kingdom. So it's different when you're in a kingdom
mm,
mentality versus world mentality.
yep,
And that's what you'll
totally
find here at No
different.
More. Mhm,
Totally different.
mhm.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate your time so much. We are out of time, but thank you. Thank you for being here. And I will absolutely see you in No More Dry Ground. As always, thank you, my friend. All right, guys. As always, another amazing guest. Thank you for showing up here every week. Please do not forget to share, subscribe, all the stuff that you know that you do to support us. And I just want to encourage you that if you have a book idea that you're carrying around in your head that won't leave you alone, if you're finally ready to get it written, I would love to be a part of your journey. Join us over at No More Dry Ground and let's get your book done. So, whether you want to write every word yourself or speak it into existence in just 4 to 6 months without writing a single word, there is a path for you, my friend. If you want to grab a spot on my calendar, we can do a 30-minute book strategy session over at craftingyourmessage.com, or you can join my free Savvy Author community at thesavvyauthors.com, built specifically for faith based entrepreneurs just like you. And of course, until next time, my friend, keep crafting your message for the world. See you next week.